Akame ga Kill episode 1. Man, this series has been being preached to me by one of my friends for a very long time. You know, I kept neglecting it. I kept telling him, yo, I don't want to read the manga, I'm just waiting until it drops. But man, oh man, I gotta give shouts out to him because he's the one that showed me about this series, you know, and I'm so glad that they decided to animate it, because now this series is looking like it has that Attack on Titan hype, people. I'm not even overhyping anything. It literally looks like it has that Attack on Titan hype. I mean, just the twists, you know, and the mind twists and all that stuff that happened in this episode was just completely unexpected. I mean, this series just changed the whole premise and the whole outlook for the rest of the show. It would have been, you know, in literally just 20 minutes. So let me just give you a quick summary of the episode and I'll get into the detail. The quick summary is the episode that you have the main character named Tatsumi, who comes from a village, you know, looking for a new life in a new town, and his goal is to become a commanding officer within the government, you know. So it just seems like your average everyday anime kid, whatever. And then after, he gets swindled by some random, you know, girl who tells him that she can line up with a job, and then he eventually gets taken in by, you know, a house of kind people, you know, by some rich people, you know, who live in the town. So anywho, you know, he gets taken care of by them. You know, he has a place to sleep, you know, he has food in his mouth, all that good stuff. But then one random night, you know, the whole family starts getting attacked by a group called the Night Raiders, or otherwise known as Akame. So these dudes, you know, they're feared across the town. They're known as a bunch of evil dudes that just want to wreak havoc. They just want to see blood. So they raid into the mansion. They, you know, start killing everybody, killing the father and the mother, you know. And the one thing I like to mention about this series is that the amount of gore that it has that's out of control, but I'll get into that in a minute. So they kill the mother and the father, and they're chasing after the girl. So Tatsumi, the main character, once again decides that, you know, he wants to protect this girl and doesn't want her to die, and he engages combat with one of the members of the Night Raiders. Of course he gets defeated because he isn't strong yet, but he still had his will to fight. But then it turns out the biggest twist here was that the shed that they were running to, turns out that the girl and her family were actually sadistic, twisted people that experiment, you know, on, you know, street people like Tatsumi and himself, that they just pick up from the street. And he actually finds out that the two friends that he came with, you know, from his town, his childhood friends, were both cruelly killed, you know. And at this point, his whole outlook and perspective, you know, on these people change, and he just kills a girl in an instant, as evident by the picture you see on the screen. So that's a quick summary of this series. Now let me get into the detail. The first thing, you know, I could not ignore in this first episode was the amount of gore, the blood, the lack of censorship. That's the type of shit that I've been waiting to see. You know, I'd like to see a really good show yet, you know, so far this year that incorporated, you know, blood, you know, just you know, complete madness. Like, I mean, right off the bat, the mother, you know, once they started their raid, the mother got killed in the most cruelest way possible. Her body got cut in half, blood flying everywhere, and she actually said, "Oh," as she's, you know, her body's flipping in the air, and she sees her lower half still on the ground. So that was actually crazy, because, you know, I was not expecting that right off the bat. I mean, we did see some little blood right off the beginning, the first scene with that little, you know, ground dragon or whatever it was. But I mean, it's this lack of censorship and the blood looks like really is the selling point for me of this series so far. Also, you know, the end of the episode, I was not expecting that twist, you know. It looks like the creator of this series has a very creative mind. You know, it looks like he can set up lots of plot twists, and those are all the things that I would like to see from this series. So overall, it was a fantastic episode, 10 out of 10, and I hope this series is going to be as good as the manga.